So Timothy May is a very famous cryptographer or computer scientist. I'm not sure, but what I know that he's a cypherpunk. He's he's in one of the documentaries that I can share with you guys later if you want to see it. But he's a very strong proponent of cypherpunk values, and this manifesto will cover the idea of it. So yeah, the setup of this session. Wait, why am I not able to scroll? Yeah. So the setup of this session is that I will be reading this and I will be sharing my own views, my experience, my knowledge, and please feel free to ask questions, have discussions in the chat, ask me questions, ask each other questions, interrupt me. Please feel free to interrupt me because sometimes it might not be easy for me to always ask. And don't be shy. It's like even if you're shy, it's not a problem. But please feel free to ask questions or have any thoughts. The Cryptoanarchist Manifesto by Timothy May. The specter is haunting the modern world, the specter of cryptoanarchy. So if you're new to Bitcoin, you might have heard the word crypto, and there is a lot of misinformation around the word crypto. A lot of people, hey, someone else joined us. Hey, Amol, thanks for joining.
Hi, Shreyan.
Okay, yeah, we were literally just about to start. We literally just started 5 or 10 seconds ago. So we'll start again. So yeah, you understand the format already. Ask me questions anytime, have discussions in the chat, or share your opinions, thoughts. The Crypto Anarchist Manifesto by Timothy C. May. This was written in 1988. This was way back before Bitcoin even existed, or I think the ideas of Bitcoin existed. This actually will cover the history of how crypto logic came to be. I'll start reading now. A specter is haunting the modern world, the specter of crypto anarchy. A lot of people in Bitcoin, you might have observed this on Twitter, you might have observed this on the Bitcoin communities, hate the word crypto because most people think it's cryptocurrencies, which means Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies other than Bitcoin, which means Ethereum, Solana, and whatnot. But crypto word itself is not cryptocurrency necessarily. It's the idea of cryptography, which is a mathematical branch designed to serve communications. In the gist of it. So communications, long distance encrypted communications, which are private and which do not necessarily require you to reveal more information than is necessary. And this idea is at the bedrock of Bitcoin because it assists public key cryptography, and that is how you are able to create signatures. So nobody is able to double spend your Bitcoin. If you own one Bitcoin, you own one Bitcoin, and if you are in possession of it with the private key, nobody can ever take it away from you. Okay, now I'll start reading. Yeah, so this is like, I'll just give a quick rundown. This is like not a very big document. It's a literally very small document. We can cover it in 10 minutes. But this is very dense, by the way. I will recommend this I've already shared this on the announcement channel. So I will recommend all of us to spend time on this meditating. Just spend your own personal time sitting through, thinking about these ideas, reading them over and over again. Because there is a lot to learn, a lot to think about, and lot of transformative potential in these technologies. These are not ideas that you can just grasp over one session. Hi, someone else has also joined us. Hi, R. Perumal. How are you doing? I love your display picture. Okay. Okay. Hi, R. Perumal. So we are discussing the crypto manifesto. How we do this is I will read this. I will share my understanding and my experience of Bitcoin and other things. And you are free to ask questions, share your comments, thoughts, whatever in the chat. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, like I said, like please feel free to read this on your own time, but I will try my best to explain these concepts because I've been going over it again and again, and these are like concepts which are very transformative. It's like very. Computer technology is on the verge of providing the ability for individuals and groups to communicate. I'm not able to select this. I hope that's okay. I'm not able to highlight this. Yeah. Computer technology is on the verge of providing the ability for individuals and groups to communicate and interact with each other in a totally anonymous manner. Two persons may exchange messages, conduct business, and negotiate electronic contracts without ever knowing the true name or legal identity of the other. Interactions over networks will be untraceable via extensive rerouting of encrypted packets and tamper-proof boxes, which implement cryptographic protocols with nearly perfect assurance against any tampering. Reputations will be of central importance, far more important in dealings than even the credit ratings of today. These developments will alter completely the nature of government regulation, the ability to tax and control economic interactions, the ability to keep information secret, and will even alter the nature of trust and reputation. Yeah, like I said, a lot of concepts here. So I'll try to stress on the last statement. Let's literally just stress on this. Will even alter the nature of trust and reputation. So I think all humans on the planet, without exception, understand the concept of trust. It's like, who do you trust the most? Most people trust their parents or their family or their close friends. But trust itself is something that we do every time we exchange anything with anybody. It's like any time you buy something, you are trusting that the other person will accept the currency that you are providing, whether it's rupees, your service, whether it's your social credit, whether it's your watch, whether it's your word, whether it's your water bottle, it does not matter. So, trust is something that all humans at every social interaction are engaging in, and trust is something you can't do away with. Trust is how we scale because specialization requires expertise, expertise requires time, effort, patience, and it builds credibility. And that's something that we can never do away with. And trust is very important. And why I'm stressing on trust so much is because currently the mainstream economic policy is based on trust. We think rupee has value because government says so, because it's legal tender, because central bank guarantees that, and it's based on trust because we trust it. Okay, so they say it, we trust it. And reputation is pretty much similar to trust. It's how we understand what has value, because over time more and more people use the same thing, trust the same thing, talk about the same thing. More and more people start to use it, and that's how you build reputation. Yeah. So cryptographic protocols fundamentally alter that, fundamentally alter how we have trust, how we have reputation. Yeah, this passage itself, we can discuss like thousands of things in this. Like I'll read this line again. Reputation will be of central importance, far more importance in dealings than even the credit ratings of today. So this is in stark contrast to how the current financial system works, right? Because the current financial system has credit ratings, which credit institutions give them. AAA ratings were given to Daniel Lehman, Lehman Brothers and Goldman Sachs before the financial collapse, because the credit ratings were part of the corruption. And this tells you that the problem was not never that credit ratings did not uh, gave them bad rating or gave them good rating. It was the problem that they were corruptible. And this is currently how the entire financial system works. So this is fundamentally how like everything changes, right? Because money is at the bedrock of everything we do. And once we change that, there are no credit ratings. There is only reputation. There is no one entity telling us the rating of something. There is a free market. It's like when you go to buy a vegetable, you rely on your intuition, you rely on your social circle to tell you where to buy the vegetable from. There is no credit rating of your favorite vegetable. Yeah. Quick pause. If someone has questions or anything to share, I'll check the chat. Thanks, Shreya. Just listening, unable to talk that this time. No worries, Sal Perumal. Yeah, great to have you here. I think you're joining us for the first time. Oh, I see you're a developer and a designer. Okay, super. Will like Vitshala. Who else will also join? Hey, Mayureshwar, Reddy. How are you doing?
I
Okay, we have started reading the Crypto Anarchist Manifesto. We just read the first paragraph. Yeah. If you have any questions, Mayureshwaram, please feel free to ask them. And how we do these sessions is I read and I share my understanding. And at any point, everybody's free to ask questions and share their own opinions and thoughts. The technology for this revolution, and it surely will be both a social and economic revolution, has existed in theory for the past decade. The methods are based upon public key encryption. So this is interesting, right? This says that the technology for this revolution, and it surely will be both a social and economic revolution. You see the conviction, right? This guy wrote this in 1988. Forget Bitcoin. There was not mainstream internet. You couldn't. I don't know. I was not alive in 1988, but as far as I know, nobody was using internet at their home. So imagine how somebody in 1988 imagined that there will be a social and economic revolution because of computers. Okay, I'll continue reading. As always, feel free to share your thoughts, comments, and ask questions. So I was literally reading the second paragraph, and I was sharing how this was written in 1988, by the way, and this was like way before forget Bitcoin, even mainstream internet existed. So yeah, the fact that Timothy May saw a social and economic revolution in 1988 is a big deal, and that's why this piece of document has become a manifesto, not just text. Has existed in theory for the past decade. The methods are based upon public key encryption, zero knowledge interactive proof systems, and various software protocols for interaction, authentication, and verification. The focus has until now been on academic conferences in Europe and the US, conferences monitored closely by the National Security Agency, but only recently have computer networks and personal computers attained sufficient speed to make the ideas practically realizable. And the next 10 years will bring enough additional speed to make the ideas economically feasible and essentially unstoppable. Yeah. Imagine somebody could be reading this in 2025 like us and imagining 10 years from now, which all Bitcoiners are already doing. All Bitcoiners are preparing themselves for the next 10 years. And imagine, just imagine when Timothy May was writing this in 1988, when like this point especially is standing out to me, which is like the academic conferences in Europe and US were the mainstream conferences, right? Any average person, if they wanted to study computer science, if they wanted to pursue engineering, forget computer science, they had to go through traditional education systems and conferences, and they were monitored closely by the NSA. And if they were monitored closely by the NSA, there was no aspect of questioning NSA. So it's like computer networks were never accessible to the individual. And he wrote this that they are now at the speed in 1988 to make these ideas practically realizable. And yeah, from 1988 to 1998, he claims that there will be additional speed to make these essentially unstoppable. Like 10 years before Bitcoin even could have existed, even yeah, thanks Satoshi, but like 1998, Timothy May said it that it's unstoppable. Okay, my laptop is slow right now, guys. I'm sorry. I have to scroll slowly. Yeah. High speed networks, ISDN, tamper proof boxes, smart cards, satellites, Ku band transmitters, multi MIPS personal computers, and encryption chips now under development will be some of the enabling technologies. Yeah, I'm no expert on any of these, but more and more technologies for accessing internet and personal computers, yeah, are becoming accessible. One would argue that it's also becoming more and more difficult to source them, to use them. They come with their own complexity. But yeah, this is where cypherpunks are solving that problem. Oh, why is this so slow? The state will, of course, try to slow or halt the spread of this technology, citing national security concerns, use of the technology by drug dealers and tax evaders, and fears of social disintegration. Many of these concerns will be valid. Cryptoanarchy will allow national secrets to be traded freely and will allow illicit and stolen materials to be traded. An anonymous computerized market will even make possible abhorrent markets for assassinations and extortion. Various criminal and foreign elements will be active users of CryptoNet, but this will not halt the spread of cryptoanarchy. Yeah, just before the session started, I just shared in case someone is new here. So we have some new faces here. That crypto word itself has become very controversial in Bitcoin, but it always stood for cryptography or crypto logic and not cryptocurrencies. Currency is just one aspect of cryptography, and that's Bitcoin. That's a solved problem, and the reason Bitcoin is hated is because Ethereum exists. Just as the technology of printing altered and reduced the power of medieval guilds and the social power structure, so too will cryptologic methods fundamentally alter the nature of corporations and of government interference in economic transactions. Combined with emerging information markets, cryptoanarchy will create a liquid market for any and all material which can be put into words and pictures. This is such a powerful statement to me because meme as a thing has become mainstream now, but even when I was growing up, I remember memes becoming mainstream or at least popular on Facebook when I was about 10 or 12 years old, around 2010, 2011. And before that, I had never heard of memes. There was no concept of memes. Sure, pictures existed, sure, jokes existed, but nobody was like sharing pictures and jokes at the speed at which we do right now. And he predicted it, like cryptoanarchy. So that's the powerful idea here, that there will be a liquid market for any and all material which can be put into words and pictures, which are digital signatures, which is encryption, which is any information that you can have without revealing more than what is necessary. And just as seemingly minor invention like the barbed wire made possible the fencing off of vast ranches and farms, thus altering forever the concepts of land and property rights. Yeah, I am no historian, but I would this reading this before the session itself. I remember just reading this and thinking about like going deep into the history uh, of cryptography essentially, because he talks about the concepts of land and property rights in an era where I can't imagine Bitcoin even being a proof of concept. Forget a technology, because just making a peer-to-peer network, uh, which are accessible by individuals in 1988. I don't know what kind of visionary do you have to be. Yeah. Okay. So we have read the the Cryptoanarchy manifesto. We have a couple of more documents. They are about the same size. My purpose of reading this is to like ground us to the fundamental ideas of what Bitcoin stands for. We are seeing every day, if you're active on Twitter, that there's more and more Bitcoin adoption by mainstream institutions, more and more Bitcoin conversations. My relatives have started calling me and saying that my career is finally good because now they are hearing good things from US institutions. So that's their criteria for deciding what the future of humanity is. And I think at this time, something like this needs to be stated over and over again. And it's only people who understand these ideas who will do it. It's only a small bunch of people, sadly, in the world. Forget India, forget US, even in the total population of humanity, there's not enough people, clearly. At least you wouldn't find them in your city easily. You have to strive to find them. Luckily, I have found some people in Indore. I wouldn't take their names. Okay. I'll take a pause now. I'll drink water. In case someone has questions, thoughts, please feel free to share. Basanta has dropped off. In the meanwhile, I'll open the second. Punk's manifesto. This is one of the most favorite documents of Bitcoiners. Yeah, before we start, I'll just give a quick, like, my personal take on privacy. For me, privacy has been a very interesting thing because I think Bitcoin is, I think, only after 2020 become really popular. Before 2020, I hardly have met anyone, rather. It's like a very small group of people, maybe 5 to 10 people, who were into Bitcoin before 2020. Most of the people started entering the Bitcoin rabbit hole after 2020 because of COVID, because of Michael Saylor. Yeah, probably those are the two biggest reasons. But privacy was actually a concern or a topic, a hot debate way before Bitcoin. I think Facebook, Instagram had made it clear, and there was Signal and Telegram becoming popular in 2017, I think, around that time, 2016, 2017, when they became really popular, and everybody was talking about how Facebook is leaking data, selling ads, so on and so forth. So privacy is actually interestingly much older as a popular concept than Bitcoin. But for me, privacy was very alien. It's like I never understood it. Only recently, literally maybe a couple of months ago, I've really started to understand what it even means. It's like a digital privacy, rather. I think every human understands privacy in the physical world. Understanding privacy in digital world is tricky because when you're interacting with your computer, you don't imagine anybody seeing you, right? Because you are in your own space. But the sad truth is that most of the technologies we use enable surveillance on massive scale. And what that does, I think everybody understands the dystopian consequences. If you don't, please feel free to ask questions. I might sometimes be not assuming certain things. So if someone has basic questions, everybody's like Bitcoin is very complex. Everybody is new to Bitcoin. Please feel free to ask any questions. So for me, privacy was very alien. I see Alok has written something in the chat. Most people don't care about privacy. What circumstances do you think will make people grasp its importance? That's a very good question. I think I will first state for me what made it really helped me to grasp its importance is the ability to freely communicate. So my name is Shreyan. I talk on Discord. I get recorded sometimes, a lot of times. I talk on WhatsApp, Telegram. I talk about my own mind, and sometimes that can be tricky because you want to feel safe. You want to not feel like you're discussing something controversial or sensitive, or you don't want to hurt anyone, but you want still the space to be able to voice out freely. And just the fear that somebody else might be listening. If two people are engaging in a conversation, third person should not ideally be part of that conversation, right? We understand this intuitively in physical conversations, but digitally it's tricky because when you're talking to someone on Signal, on Discord, you think you and them are the only person. And more than government, you understand that all social media apps are private companies, so they are incentivized to profit, and they will sell your data at the first instance, right? Whenever they got the opportunity, so they will sell to companies, they will sell to third parties, anonymous parties, you don't know who. And even to companies, you don't want to leak sensitive personal information to companies because, like, insurance companies, you can, that's a whole rabbit hole how they are so evil because they're always on the hunt of knowing what the person's weaknesses are, illnesses are, because they can profit off selling targeted insurance to them at some ad, which just gets them at a point in their life when they feel compelled to. And most people do not do critical thinking, right? We understand most, like imagine a 45-year-old or 50-year-old, they get scammed left and right in the world, and insurance companies are evil at that. So like privacy is very difficult. So I think it's a very individual thing. Everybody will understand privacy on their own. I think it's a very individual, subjective thing. Hmm. Yeah, I don't know if that was a helpful answer, Apalok, but yeah. The closest analogy I can give is that people understand privacy in physical conversations. So how you can explain digital privacy to them is just helping them use apps which respect privacy, something like Signal, which does it more than WhatsApp at least. And yeah, you can, yeah, you can, I don't know if they can, you can explain it to them, but what you can share is that ideally you wouldn't want anyone else to like sell you ads in physical life. So why would you want it on your digital life? But yeah, it's a tricky concept. I realize it's not easy to explain. Most people in our age are not understanding it. Forget a 45-year-old. Okay. Now we'll read a cypherpunk's manifesto. Okay, all of us are cypherpunks here because we use Bitcoin every day. Cypherpunks write code, but cypherpunks are using the code that coders write. So I personally think I'm a cypherpunk as well, because every time a developer creates something useful, I try my best to use it as much as I can. Uh, where am I? Slow. Yeah, sorry guys. Okay, this is by Eric Hughes. This was written on March 9th, 1993. Privacy is necessary for an open society in the electronic age. Privacy is not secrecy. By the way, I'm not able to highlight this. Yeah, I'll explain each paragraph as best I can. Privacy is necessary for an open society in the electronic age. Privacy is not secrecy. A private matter is something one doesn't want the whole world to know, but a secret matter is something one doesn't want anyone to know. Privacy is the power to selectively reveal oneself to the world. Yeah, this is like a very nuanced conversation, difference between privacy and secrecy. Privacy is definitely a human right because it's the power to selectively reveal oneself to the world. You don't want the world or in fact anyone to know everything about you. So it should be your individual choice. Secrets are something which can be sensitive, and that is when somebody might owe some information to someone. So yeah, privacy and secrecy are different things, and secrecy is definitely contextual, but privacy is a human right. It's like if you're not harmful, then there is no obligation on you to reveal certain information about you. If there is potential of harm, then it crosses into the territory of secrecy. So you need to disclose certain information depending on the certain circumstance. If two parties have some sort of dealings, then each has a memory of their interactions. Right. If two parties have some sort of dealings, then each has a memory of their interaction. Each party can speak about their own memory of this. How could anyone prevent it? One could pass laws against it, but the freedom of speech, even more than privacy, is fundamental to an open society. We seek not to restrict any speech at all. If many parties speak together in the same forum, each can speak to all the others and aggregate together knowledge about individuals and other parties. The power of electronic communications has enabled such group speech, and it will not go away merely because we might want it to. Yeah. Yeah, everybody's experiencing this every day, right? Because all of us use social media apps. So we understand the importance of freedom of speech inherently, right? Because nobody should be able to tell you what you say. Like no other person gets to tell you how to think, what to think. So everybody's using social media apps. They are using group forums, and that enables other individuals to like gather information about you, know about you, and yeah, what that does is that it makes you vulnerable to surveillance. And when two parties are interacting directly online, uh, yeah, you don't want ideally, others to know it. Since we desire privacy, we must ensure that each party to a transaction have knowledge only of that which is directly necessary for the transaction. Since any information can be spoken of, we must ensure that we reveal as little as possible. In most cases, personal identity is not salient. When I purchase a magazine at a store and hand cash to the clerk, there is no need to know who I am. When I ask my electronic mail provider to send and receive messages, my provider need not know to who I am speaking to, or what I am saying, or what others are saying to me. My provider only need know how to get the message there and how much I owe them in fees. When my identity is revealed by the underlying mechanism of the transaction, I have no privacy. I cannot here selectively reveal myself. I must always reveal myself. Yeah. So when my identity is revealed by the underlying mechanism of the transaction, I have no privacy. So when you're interacting with someone and you need to reveal your name and more information, you are already leaking some sensitive information because they know who you are, where you live. Your name is attached to so many legal identities, and that like inherently by default will reveal information about you, and that's not ideal because no stranger needs to know more information than is necessary. Therefore, privacy in an open society requires anonymous transaction systems. Until now, cash has been the primary such system. An anonymous transaction system is not a secret transaction system. An anonymous system empowers individuals to reveal their identity when desired and only when desired. This is the essence of privacy. Yeah. By the way, and this, like, to make it clear, I think I'll like to give an example. If some shop owner, for whatever reason, wants to know their customers, they have the freedom to do so. So KYC inherently is not bad. KYC is a very soft, cute word for government to justify surveillance because it's not the vendors and the merchants and the businesses knowing you. It's the mechanism through which the government is surveilling you. So any business is free to know their customers however they want to, and if they don't want to serve a certain set of customers, that's their choice, that's their business. But the problem is that when it becomes mandatory, then they have power over you because now you don't have access to certain goods services or certain mechanisms without revealing more information uh, than you would want to. Privacy in an open society also requires cryptography. If I say something, I want it heard only by those for whom I intend it. If the content of my speech is available to the world, I have no privacy. To encrypt is to indicate the desire for privacy, and to encrypt with weak cryptography is to indicate not too much desire for privacy. Furthermore, to reveal one's identity with assurance when the default is anonymity requires the cryptographic signature. Yeah, yeah. I'd like to stress a bit on the last point. Give me a second. Yeah, I'll give an example of DeepSeek. I'm playing around with AI tools, and DeepSeek, by the way, is like clearly does not want to talk about CCB at all. It's like so clear that AI is clearly becoming more and more relevant, and I think it will become a part of our future. It's obvious. I think it's not just inevitable. I think it's already here. AI is deeply influencing our lives, and I'm actually very bullish on AI. A lot of people think it's overhyped. Maybe it's overhyped, but I think what I've realized is that it also has the potential to make you dumb, make you slow, give you convenient and like quick answers. Of course, there's dopamine rush and all of that as well, like short form content cancer that AI helps with. But I think AI is inevitable and a good thing for humanity, and we are seeing with tools like Grok, uh, they are very like biased towards how Elon Musk and Twitter operates. DeepSeek is biased towards how CCP operates, and yeah, ChatGPT. I haven't used it a lot, but I'm already sure that it's very biased to certain propagandas. Okay, I'll take a quick pause in case someone wants to share anything. I think it's got really hot in Indore, so I'm just feeling a little sweaty. Uh, We cannot expect governments, corporations, or other large faceless organizations to grant us privacy out of their beneficence. It is to their advantage to speak of us, and we should expect that they will speak. To try to prevent their speech is to fight against the realities of information. Information does not just want to be free, it longs to be free. Information expands to fill the available storage space. Information is rumor's younger, stronger cousin. Information is fleeter of foot, has more eyes, knows more, and understands less than rumor. Sorry. Interesting. This is like a very interesting rabbit hole. Yeah, by the way, it's like this first sentence is very obvious. These entities exist to profit out of information, so they will try their best to get as much information. Uh, and yeah, they don't want free information, they don't want free speech, and they will try to fight that reality. But information like chit passing, it's like if you were in school and you know how a lot of people pass their exams, they literally pass chits around, and that's the reality of information. That information is easy to spread around, it's not easy to stop it. And digital information more so because you cannot like stop electrical signals, and encryption allows us to do that more privately. We must defend our own privacy if we expect to have any. We must come together and create systems which allow anonymous transactions to take place. People have been defending their own privacy for centuries with whispers, darkness, envelopes, closed doors, secret handshakes, and couriers. The technologies of the past did not allow for strong privacy, but electronic technologies do. We are cypherpunks. We, the cypherpunks, are dedicated to building anonymous systems. We are defending our privacy with cryptography, with anonymous mail forwarding systems, with digital signatures, and with electronic money. Cypherpunks write code. We know that someone has to write software to defend privacy, and since we cannot get privacy unless we all do, we are going to write it. We publish our code so that our fellow cypherpunks may practice and play with it. Our code is free for all to use worldwide. We don't much care if you don't approve of the software we write. We know that software can't be destroyed and that a widely dispersed system can't be shut down. So I think cypherpunk's write code is at the essence of sovereignty, permissionless systems, is that we can't expect systems to work for us because clearly they are not. It's like that's empirically true. So the only solution is to just proactively go ahead and solve this problem. And yeah, this has become the meme, cypherpunks write code. But it's not literally writing computer code. I think it means just going ahead and solving problems. If you have a problem, if you have a complaint, just figure out a way, go ahead and do it. Do it as in solve the problem. So cypherpunks deep law regulations. Cypherpunk's deep law regulations on cryptography for encryption is fundamentally a private act. The act of encryption, in fact, removes information from the public realm. Even laws against cryptography reach only so far as a nation's border and the arms of its violence. Cryptography will ineluctably spread over the whole globe, and with it, the anonymous transaction systems that it makes possible. For privacy to be widespread, it must be part of a social contract. People must come and together deploy these systems for the common good. Privacy only extends so far as the cooperation of one's fellows in society. We, the cypherpunks, seek your questions and your concerns, and we hope to engage you so that we do not deceive ourselves. We will not, however, be moved out of our course because some may disagree with our goals. A very powerful passage, like very powerful message that these are sovereign systems, these are parallel, private, and permissionless systems, and this also highlights the human element of it, that they are seeking questions, they are seeking concerns, they are seeking cooperation, and they are seeking common good. None of this is necessarily in the interest of one specific agenda. And I think 2025 is an interesting year. Nostr is becoming more and more usable. More and more Bitcoiners are becoming public. More and more Bitcoin conversations are becoming mainstream, household conversations. Even mainstream media is covering it. Sadly, not in the right lens. At least right now. Maybe it will change in 2 to 5 years. But yeah, cypherpunks are actively engaged in making the world safer for privacy. Let us proceed together apace onward. Yeah. We have 8:44. Okay, one more document to share. Yeah, we have like 10 minutes, but yeah, this might take just like 5 minutes extra. Yeah, we'll read this together. I haven't read this before the session, by the way, this specific document. A Declaration of the Independence of Cyberspace. This was written in February 8, 1996 by John Perry Barrow. Governments of the industrial world, you very giants of flesh and steel, I come from cyberspace, the new home of mine. On behalf of the future, I ask you of the past to leave us alone. You are not welcome among us. You have no sovereignty where we gather. We have no elected government, nor are we likely to have one. So I address you with no greater authority than that with which liberty itself always speaks. I declare the global social space we are building to be naturally independent of the tyrannies you seek to impose on us. You have no moral right to rule us, nor do you possess any methods of enforcement we have true reason to fear. Governments derive their just powers from the consent of the governed. You have neither solicited or nor received ours. We did not invite you. You do not know us, nor do you know our gold. Cyberspace does not lie within your borders. Do not think that you can build it as though it were a public construction project. You cannot. It is an act of nature and it grows itself through our collective actions. You have not engaged in our great and gathering conversation, nor did you create the wealth of our marketplaces. You do not know our culture, our ethics, or the unwritten codes that already provide our society more order than could be obtained by any of your impositions. You claim there are problems among us that you need to solve. You use this claim as an excuse to invade our precincts. Many of these problems don't exist, whether there are real conflicts, whether where there are wrongs, we will identify them and address them by our means. We are forming our own social contract. This governance will arise according to the conditions of our world, not yours. Our world is different. Cyberspace consists of transactions, relationships, and thought itself, arrayed like a standing wave in the web of our communications. Ours is a world that is both everywhere and nowhere, but it is not where bodies live. We are creating a world that all may enter without privilege or prejudice accorded by race, economic power, military force, or station of birth. We are creating a world where anyone, anywhere may express his or her beliefs, no matter how singular, without fear of being coerced into silence or conformity. Your legal concepts of property, expression, identity, movement, and context do not apply to us. They are all based on matter, and there is no matter here. Yeah, information. I'll take a quick pause. We are halfway through the document. Yeah, information itself is such a dense subject. It's like there's information theory, and all of computer science is essentially studying how binary information works and how we enable it through hardware systems, which comes into the subject of physics and electronics and yeah, whatnot, quantum and all of that. But yeah, all of information theory itself, it's mathematics, it's human behavior, is how everything works. There are like good theories around how everything is information. Like even in physics, it's said that information can describe everything. There's also this idea of gravity in information, that certain information has gravity. Like Bitcoin clearly has more gravity than any other cryptocurrency, and that's free market decided. Nobody forced anyone to value Bitcoin. Everybody valued it out of their own accord or out of their social circle or whatever. But everybody was free to choose to value Bitcoin. So yeah, information itself is a fascinating thing, and in cyberspace, nobody knows who wrote that information, who is behind that information, because information is independent of the author. Our identities have no bodies, so unlike you, we cannot obtain order by physical coercion. We believe that from ethics, enlightened self-interest, and the common weal, our governance will emerge. Our identities may be distributed across many of your jurisdictions. The only law that all our constituent cultures would generally recognize is the golden rule. We hope we will be able to build our particular solutions on that basis, but we cannot accept the solutions you are attempting to impose. Yeah, I'd like to just like off the topic or a bit tangential, but like whenever someone asks me how will the future look like, how will the future that like, I always ask me like look me in the eye and have a conversation with me. Both of us are humans. We can engage in conversation. We might have some disputes or disagreements, but essentially all communities always have independent people, disagreements, like all sorts of things, but they're able to more and less govern themselves, right? So I asked them like there is no like I'm not imposing anything on you. You are not imposing anything on me, and we can come to some consensus. And this scales in your local communities. For some reason, people think it does not scale for the world. I don't agree. I think humans have the capability to form communities, and like online communities, the perfect example of that. Online communities are not always big, and even the ones that are big will always have certain more proactive people, certain kind of reputation systems, certain ratings and whatnot. So I think all human organizations, if cooperative, are always better. That's obvious. But I just like sharing these thoughts with you in my education journey of my family and my local community. In the United States, you have today created a law, the Telecommunications Reform Act, which repudiates your own constitution and insults the dream of Jefferson, Washington, Mill, Madison, de Tocqueville, and Brandeis. These dreams must now be born anew in us. You are terrified of your own children since they are natives in a world where you will always be immigrants. Because you fear them, you entrust your bureaucracies with the parental responsibilities. You are too cowardly to confront yourselves. In our world, all the sentiments and expressions of humanity, from the debasing to the angelic, are parts of a seamless whole, the global conversation of bits. We cannot separate the air that chokes from the air upon which wings beat. I'll read this one again. We cannot separate the air that chokes from the air upon which wings beat. Right. In China, Germany, France, Russia, Singapore, Italy, and the United States, you are trying to ward off the virus of liberty by erecting guard posts at the frontiers of cyberspace. These may keep out the contagion for a small time, but they will not work in a world that will soon be blanketed in bit-bearing media. I love how bit word just fits in with everything. Your increasingly obsolete information industries would perpetuate themselves by proposing laws in America and elsewhere that claim to own speech itself throughout the world. These laws would declare ideas to be another industrial product, no more notable than pig iron. In our world, whatever the human mind may create can be reproduced and distributed infinitely at no cost. The global conveyance of thought no longer requires your factories to accomplish. Right. These increasingly hostile and colonial measures place us in the same position as those previous lovers of freedom and self determination who had to reject the authorities of distant, uninformed powers. We must declare our virtual selves immune to your sovereignty, even as we continue to consent to your rule over our bodies. We will spread ourselves across the planet so that no one can arrest our thoughts. You will create a civilization of the mind in cyberspace. May it be more humane and fair than the world your government have made before. Yeah, I'll just share something unrelated, but I think it ties back to the idea of creating mind in the cyberspace. If you like have followed any of I'm forgetting his name. He's this famous archaeologist, forgetting his name, but he studies ancient civilizations. But any religion or any ancient civilization, you realize that humans have created sophisticated technology before. Sometimes at least there are myths. That belongs. I haven't done too much of a deep study, but there are myths of technologies or inventions or monuments which are far more sophisticated. What modern architecture looks like, what modern art looks like. So the reason for that is cosmic understanding or cosmic knowledge, right? And there were custodians of that knowledge, but because of the fallacies of physical uh, data storage, it was did not last for centuries. What internet allows us to do is enable a system which can last for centuries and civilizations. And this is a unique opportunity because civilizational work requires someone to put something beyond just their own selves ahead of themselves. Like you value something which will be relevant in 200, 500, or even more years. And that requires you to have a certain kind of mind. And it's very individual. Nobody can dictate how that looks like. But like imagine Bitcoin as a digital monument and everybody's adding value to it. And if your value is going out in the cyberspace, it's permanent. It's like value can be outside cyberspace as well. And that's like a personal thing. But if your value is in cyberspace, it can potentially last for centuries as far as digital infrastructure can exist. And I think there's good reasons for it to exist for thousands of years. So it's a unique opportunity to create civilization knowledge, which will never get lost because unlike like internet itself can uh, survive until and unless the whole earth is at risk, it can survive local failures, which other civilizations did not have the privilege in history. So yeah, a lot of people when they ask me like Bitcoin being unstoppable both philosophically and technologically is possible only when people value it, but also the fact that this thing is now true, and if humans are capable of civilizational knowledge, which I think they are because earlier civilizations have done it. It's not the first time. We are not the first civilization to think of generational wealth and generational knowledge. Then we can create something unique and special, which we might never get to witness, and which is okay because other generations have also done it. Okay, I just a bit tangential, but I wanted to use this opportunity to share this. Thank you so much for listening, guys. We are at 9, and yeah,